Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a wonderful connoisseurs box. And we know we're all connoisseurs, aren't we? Here it is. It's the Philadelphia Woodwind Quintet, the complete Columbia album recordings. Now, these started in like the 50s and went through about 1968. And so some of them are mono and some of them are stereo, but they are all pretty damn wonderful. They feature the principal woodwind soloists from the Philadelphia Orchestra. And there were no greater woodwind players in the universe. I mean, there were equally fine ones in other great orchestras, but the principal desk players in the major orchestras are really astonishingly gifted people. And when they form ensembles, wonderful things happen. Now, these discs were as good as unavailable for decades. They've all been remastered for CD. They all sound pretty good. Let's see, the quintet, it says here, was founded in 1950, and they recorded for 17 years. So that's really kind of amazing. There are 12 discs here, and there's all kinds of interesting repertoire, a lot of contemporary stuff. So we're going to go through it. You have original jackets, lots of original jackets. Here they all are, you know. I mean, and some of these players, we're going to talk about who they were just like legends in their own time, especially like the principal horn, Mason Jones, and no, let's just talk about who else was in here. Let's see, we've got the list here. Okay, list. Where's the list? Here we are. Okay, 3 members. John Delancey, oboe. Yeah, he's the guy who got Richard Strauss to write his oboe concerto. So there's John Delancey, oboe, and Mason Jones, horn. We talked about Anthony Gigliotti, clarinet, and they were constants in the entire ensemble. The flutists were William Kincaid and Robert Cole, amazing artists, and Murray Panitz, they were all flutists, and 2 bassoonists, Saul Schoenberg and Bernard Garfield. So that was the basis of the quintet, but there were other people who joined them as necessary, as you will soon see. For example, in their first recording, here they all are. There they are, tootling away, in this case with Rudolf Serkin on the piano. Not shabby. In fact, that was their first recording. And there's some very interesting stuff to talk about as we go through these. You got the Mozart and Beethoven quintets for piano and winds with Rudolf Serkin and members of the Philadelphia Woodwind Quintet, a famous recording from 1953. Wow. Yeah. And it sounds lovely and it's perfectly fine. And it was, of course, in the Serkin box. But you know, there's going to be a little incestuous stuff if you have other artists in some of these box sets that come out. But CD2 is really interesting. It's a Janacek disc. I mean, how many of those were there in 1954? You've got Rudolf Firkuzhny doing the concertino for piano, 2 violins, viola, clarinet, horn, and bassoon, with some, Jacob Krachmalnik violin, and David Madison and Samuel Lifshay viola, along with the quintet people. I mean, nobody was doing this in 1953 outside of maybe Czechoslovakia. But of course, Firkuzhny, who was living in the U.S., was always a big fan of Janacek. Janacek had been his teacher. So there you go. And you also get Mlady, the wind sextet, Janacek's wind sextet with Leon Lester, bass clarinetist, along with the regular Philadelphia people. Now that's really cool because this was so before anybody knew about or cared about Janacek. But here it is with the Philadelphia Woodwind Quintet. No wonder it was out of print for 100 years, Then we've got Hindemith on CD3, the Kleine Kammermusik and the Ibert 3 pièces brèves. And let's see, what else? Oh my goodness, Eugene Botza Scherzo for Woodwind Quintet, and Haydn, Divertimento for 2 oboes, 3 bassoons, serpent, and 2 horns, the Feldpartie, arranged for Woodwind Quintet, and Beethoven's Sextet for 2 clarinets, 2 horns, and 2 bassoons, arranged for Woodwind Quintet, played by the Woodwind Quintet. So yeah, nifty. CD4. Here we go. Schoenberg's Wind Quintet. They had to do it. This was in 1956. Boy, I mean, nobody was playing this stuff in 1956. And let me tell you, the Schoenberg Wind Quintet, as I've pointed out many times, is the ugliest piece of music in the history of humanity. It's unlistenably horrible. I know, someone out there is going to say they think it's marvelous. Go ahead, think it's marvelous. But you have to do it. If you're a wind quintet, I mean, Schoenberg was so clever to save his ugliest, most obstreperous piece of music for a rare medium so that the few groups that play in that medium would absolutely have to learn it and play it. He was such a bastard. Oh, my goodness. Let's go to CD 5. Woodwind Quintet. Oh, God, it's horrible. Anyway, Barber, Summer Music. Nielsen's Wind Quintet. Yay! Which is fantastic. And that's CD 5. It's all CD 5. It's 33-minute CD. Okay, what the heck. Here's the point. Again, as with Janacek, the wind quintet repertoire, especially 20th century repertoire, would naturally encompass a lot of music that most people in the classical music universe had never heard of, had never encountered. Composers who are wonderful, marvelous, masterful geniuses, and they wrote for the wind quintet. So you get to hear these pieces in the 50s, in the early 50s. Some of this stuff, let's see, we're in the stereo world with this one, thank goodness. Let's see, the Nielsen is mono, the Barber is stereo, but wow, you see, all of this nifty, cool music that nowadays is fairly familiar. Some of it is anyway. I mean, among people who know those composers, the names have become more popular and their music has become more popular. But back in the 50s and early 60s, this was new and really cool and a labor of love on Columbia's part because these records were not staying in print for long. They just weren't, and they didn't. So CD 6, Poulenc, his sextet, the sextoire, the brilliant sextoire. Oh, and the pianist, by the way, is Poulenc. There he is. There's Poulenc sitting there right in front. See, there he is, Poulenc. Not too shabby, huh? You get the composer to do it. Oh, that is so bloody cool. I mean, it really is. These are stereo recordings now. Darius Milhaud, Le Cheminée du Roi René. So there's that thing. Jean Francais, Divertissement for oboe, clarinet, and bassoon. I mean, Poulenc playing the piano. Yay! I mean, these are just nifty historical recordings. Like I said, real connoisseur stuff. Then we've got Mozart Divertimento number 8 for 2 oboes, 2 horns, and 2 bassoons, arranged for Woodwind Quintet. And the Divertimento number 14 for the same forces, arranged for Woodwind Quintet. That's probably right. I mean, these arrangements are all very lovingly done, and they're beautiful, and they work perfectly well. Anton Reicha, finally, we have to do Reicha wind quintets. He sort of invented the wind quintet, kind of, sort of, at least formalized it. His wind quintet number 2 in E flat. That's still on CD 7. I think we are CD 7. That was, yes, CD 7 with the Mozart and the Reicha. CD 8, Ernst Toch, 5 pieces for wind instruments and percussion. That's nifty. And you've got this, that's for flute, oboe, clarinet, 2 horns, bassoon, and 2 percussionists. Well, that's different. You also get his sonatinetta. It's a sonatinetta for flute, clarinet, and bassoon. And Henry Cowell's string quartet number 5 with the Beaux-Arts string quartet. It has nothing to do with winds. It was just on the original recording, and thank God they give us the original contents, all of them. Then CD 9 is called Pastorals. Pastorals wafting through the meadows on a summer day. You've got Percy Granger's Walking Tune. And Paul de Wally, the Whaley, Obad, his Obad, which is 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Persichetti's Pastoral. Schubert, the Shepherd's Song, with, like, let's see, other people. Shepherd's Song, Hirten Lied, arranged by the Wind Quintet. Stravinsky's Pastoral, Song Without Words for soprano, oboe, English horn, clarinet, and bassoon with Judith Blagan. Marvelous, marvelous soprano. Remember, she sang the finale of Mahler's Fourth in the Cell recording. She was a great, great singer. Then another Pastoral by Igor Stravinsky, Song Without Words, this time with Veda Reynolds on the violin. So you get to hear it a couple ways. Pierre Ney's Pastoral for Wind Quintet. André Jolivet, Pastoral de Noël, Christmas pastorals, with members of the Woodwind Quintet. It's got a harp, Oh, isn't that cute? Flute, bassoon, and harp. And Mio, 2 sketches for Woodwind Quintet. Whew. How's that for an interesting collection of stuff? That's all on one album. CD 10, Italian woodwind music. Vivaldi. Let's see, concerto for flute, oboe, and bassoon in G minor. And then we've got Cambini Quintet for Woodwind Quintet number 3. And with the Philadelphia Woodwind Quintet, it doesn't say, let's see, members of the Woodwind Quintet, flute, oboe, is that an arrangement to Vivaldi? I forgot to go listen to it. Well, you'll have to tell me. I didn't play that when I was going through this thing. I don't know why I didn't. There's an arrangement of the Rossini Sonata a Quattro, the 4-part sonatas, number 4, and Ponchielli, his quartet for flute, oboe, and 2 clarinets with piano. And we've got, let's see, Donald Montanaro clarinet and Anthony di Bonaventura playing the extra piano part. I got to go back and listen to that Vivaldi. Why did I skip that? Oh, I don't know, because I listen to everything else. Never mind. It's marvelous. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to go back and listen to it right after this. Mozart, the Sinfonia Concertante with the Philadelphia Orchestra, Eugene Ormandy, the Wind one, which really isn't by Mozart, or it seems like it's not by Mozart. I think it's a horrible piece, by the way. And then we've got his quintet for piano, oboe, clarinet, horn, and bassoon with Robert Casadesus. I mean, the piano people here are just marvelous. All the additional artists and whatnot. And CD 12, the music of Ornette Coleman. There you go, Ornette Coleman, Forms and Sounds, with Ornette Coleman trumpet interludes. Then Saints and Soldiers, Space Flight for 2 violins, viola, and cello. It's got the Chamber Symphony of Philadelphia Quartet. And that's the last disc, the Ornette Coleman CD. Nifty stuff. I mean, come on, where else are you going to find this stuff? Even the Vivaldi. I can't believe I skipped that. Oh, well. Here we have it. The Philadelphia Woodwind Quintet, the complete Columbia album collection on Sony. 12 discs, some of them quite short playing time, but we don't care. This is really historical stuff, and I just love the repertoire on here. And you will too. You're going to have a great time. So go for it and keep on listening, friends. Take care.